All right, let's jump right in. So, picture this. You've poured months into building and training a large language model for your company. It's finally deployed, it's out there, the system is live.
So you might think, great, we're done, right? Project complete. Oh, not even close. Actually, deployment, that's really just the beginning of the journey. You see, the thing to remember is that an LLM isn't some piece of software you just install and then forget about. No, it's a living, dynamic system. It needs constant care and attention to stay sharp and accurate.
And this whole idea of constant care is perfectly captured in what's called the continuous life cycle of an LLM. Think of it like a cycle that never stops. First, you've got to monitor its performance. You're looking for any signs of drift. Then, you're constantly feeding it new data to keep it fresh. After that, you're adapting it to new subjects or domains. And finally, you're always evaluating it, benchmarking it against the best models out there to make sure it's still up to snuff. So I mentioned model drift, and this is a really big deal. If you've ever worked with databases, you might know about data drift. Well, this is pretty much the same idea. It's when the real-world data the model sees starts to look different from the data it was trained on. And if you're not paying attention and keeping up with those changes, the model's accuracy is just going to plummet. That's it, exactly. Language evolves, new topics pop up all the time. If you don't maintain the model, it just gets, well, obsolete. Fast. And this constant threat of performance decay, it's really just the tip of the iceberg when it comes to the challenges developers are facing. Okay, so that makes a lot of sense. But beyond just keeping the model up to date, what are the other big hurdles? What are the really tough challenges that developers are wrestling with right now? Well, it's a pretty long list. I mean, we're talking about everything from the massive challenge of finding enough high-quality data to fighting off what are called adversarial attacks. Basically, people trying to trick the model. But out of all these tough problems, there's one that's absolutely fundamental, especially when it comes to trust. And that's explainability. And that word, explainability, it gets to a really critical question, doesn't it? Let's say a model is working great, giving you perfect answers. But if you have no idea why it's making those decisions, can you really, truly trust it? It's just a black box. That is the absolute core question that a field called interpretable AI, or XAI for short, is trying to answer. The whole goal is to crack open that black box. Because once we understand the why behind the decisions, that's when we can start spotting hidden biases, making the model even better, and, this is the big one, building real, genuine trust in the system. Okay, so how do they actually do that? What are the tools in the toolbox for making these incredibly complex models more transparent? There are actually a few really clever techniques. For instance, something called attention mechanisms can literally show you which words or parts of the input the model paid the most attention to, kind of like highlighting a sentence in a book. Then you have other methods that can figure out which specific features had the biggest impact on the final answer. And all of this awesome tech comes together to build interfaces that can explain these super complex decisions in plain English or with easy-to-understand visuals. And the payoff for all this work is huge. I mean, when people, users, developers, anyone can actually understand how the model works and why it got to a certain answer, everything gets better. You get more trust and confidence, you get way more accountability, and you end up with a model that performs better and is just more reliable all around. So, when you look at the whole picture, the life cycle of an LLM isn't just about the technical stuff, the maintenance and updates. It's really a commitment to being transparent and building trust. And that leaves us with a really big, important question to think about. As these AI models get more and more powerful, how do we make sure we can still understand them? Hey, if you found this breakdown helpful, do us a favor and hit that like button. Share it with someone who might be interested, and subscribe for more explainers just like this one. Thanks for tuning in, and we'll see you in the next one.